Welcome to Vlog Thursday number 449 live from New York. Because I don't know what else we can title it. I don't have a lot planned, but I stay with my commitment to doing a live stream every Thursday. So that's what this is me matching my commitment, and doing some Q&A, talking about some things because there's people that follow up and post. Matter of fact, something I want to mention is a lot of you have reached out to me, and it's been great. Vlog Thursday at lawrencesystems.com is a valid email address. So people that want to reach out, we actually had some interesting conversations. The new sync thing, this was a discussion I just had with someone, is available. And apparently they did some back end moving and it's causing some problems. But one of the things I was pointing out is I gave them some suggestions, posted in the forums, etc. And people ask me questions like this a lot. And this person asks, well, can you do a video on how to fix it? I'm like, I can't reproduce the problem because all of my sync thing upgrades went fine. I think I just don't have as much, and I have a lot of data, but I think they have even more data in sync thing. So it's causing some because it's a database conversion. They moved the backend version. I'll probably do a new video, updated video just on the new sync thing updates because they're really cool. So definitely like neat, but the other side of it is it's hard for me to make a video about something that I don't have a, actual way to reproduce the problem. I mean, I'd have to try to see if I can create a database that big to try to create the problems in order to solve the problem. So those are sometimes challenges to make when I experience the problems or I work. Matter of fact, it's a lot of times isn't me experiencing a problem. It's a customer we're working with to do that. And when we're working with the customer, we're like, hey, we're solving the problem. And then I will turn that into a piece of content to teach others who are probably having a similar problem how to solve that problem. I see Matt put live from New York because I had to set it up. I just realized I probably should live from New York and technical Q&A because that's always what these are. I'm going to add that. And tech Q&A. There we go. I'll update it. We can do this live, I think. We're going to find out in a second. Save changes. Does it give me an error? Boom. Worked. Awesome. Yeah. So I am hungry. So that's one of the reasons I want to do it now because I'm in Queens, which I'm here for the Hackers on Planet Earth event, which is tomorrow. And that means I'm here in Queens today, which doesn't give me a ton of things to do, but because this is outside the city, like the city proper, like Manhattan, what people think of when you say New York City. So nonetheless, what do I think of Fedora? I haven't used it in so many years. I have zero thoughts on it. I have not touched, other than the fact that XCPNG is based on CentOS. I really don't use CentOS or Red Hat based stuff. So I don't really have any thoughts on it. It's not something I use. I don't have a reason to use it. I don't know what compelling thing it offers that would make me want to use it more than what I'm currently doing. Are you guys using more UniFi gateways and Dream Machines than pfSense? Has UniFi surpassed usability and versatility of pfSense? No. I was just discussing this with someone else. And there seems to be this, hey, Tom, you've moved to UniFi because I did some UniFi videos and I did move my studio to UniFi, but we have I don't know that we have but a couple clients on pfSense, but I think we got, I don't know, 30 of them, 20 of them. I got to look. I don't run the MSP stuff day to day anymore, so I have to go like digging to find this information, but we probably got like 20 people, 30 people on pfSense. So there's more I can definitely tell you there's more pfSense than UniFi, but most of it's because this stuff hasn't reached a life cycle change. So we'll evaluate when there's a life cycle change going, do we need to replace these firewalls with something else? The UCG Max gateway doesn't have NetFlow. I don't know. Is that like not supported on that model? I thought it was support. I don't have all the models in my head, so I don't have an answer for that. I assume, but maybe there is a couple small models it doesn't support. I thought it was on all their models, but Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while. I did when I did the video, I noted what models it did or didn't support, but I don't remember what those were. Making the switch from Windows 11 to Debian as we speak. Hard as I have a lot of Elgato hardware, you might want to look at Ubuntu if there's better compatibility than there is in Debian. I don't know, but yeah, I'm assuming you mean Libra NMS because I don't know about NVS, but I'm assuming you mean that. I haven't used it, but I know of its existence, but I haven't used it. Is Sophos Firewall a good choice for production environments in terms of security, stability, and management? I have heard a lot of mixed reviews on them. I don't know many people that love them. I've had a few people said they like them and they're fine, but I seem to run into more people that find them inflexible. But I've never used them, so I don't have any direct opinion on them. Are you using your Framework PC now or your travel PC, and is it still using Ubuntu? Framework is still running Ubuntu. I'm currently on my Mac, and the reason why is this is easier and lighter for me to carry around. I try to, when I can, travel as light as possible. So I do consider the Framework my travel laptop, but depends if I'm traveling to do work things or in this case, I need something to take notes on. And opening up a framework and taking notes, not easy. I could easily bring a framework in here, but I don't want to bring two laptops. So I bring my little MacBook Air because it's super lightweight and I hate taking notes on my phone. I just don't like that. So when I go to the event, I will be going to the event with my MacBook Air because it's the easiest way to take notes. Have you ever seen RavenOS? No, I don't do much distro hopping. That is definitely a hobby people get into, just trying different distros all day. I mean, I never did a lot of that. It was never really my thing. What event am I at? Well, I'm not at the event yet, but I will share the event I will be at tomorrow. The event starts tomorrow in the morning, so I came in today. But this is the Hackers on Planet Earth. I'm excited because you have I've talked about this book before, uh, and he's going to talk a little bit about Joseph Cox as a co-founder of 404 Media, and the book Dark Wire is great. So there's all kinds of oh cool, the registration's open, so I'm actually going to get registered today. So cool. But I'm at the Hope Hackers on Planet Earth event. That's what I'm going to today or tomorrow. Well, I'm going to walk over there today, I guess, because registration's open later. Thoughts on running Proxmox, a few VMs pass through my main system. This way I can have ZFS snapshots and VMs. Windows 11 Arch. I mean, you can. It's a workable solution. I I mean, if you don't have the budget to have a dedicated system for stuff, it's a nice way to do it, I guess. I prefer still to run my stuff on bare metal, but that's me. Like for my main workstation, I could like convert my workstation into a pass-through station, but I don't know. I don't want the extra complexity. If you had to choose between expensive Cisco router and pfSense and premise server, which one you choose for better security? There's not even a comparison. I mean, it depends if you're going to use it. You can't just say Cisco. You say, will you be buying all the licenses for Cisco? Cisco's threat protection licenses? Yeah, you're going to get more if you buy all those. You can't really get as much threat protection in terms of like all the cool features that Cisco has, but those come at a really expensive license. So you're not comparing the same product or even a similar product. They're both will route packets, but do you want like an entire security suite from Cisco attached to it? You're talking thousands, and that's why it's not exactly the same. You can buy some threat feeds and you can tune pfSense to have the same threat feeds, and it has Suricata and Snort. So you could also use the pro subscriptions to those, but they're going to be more manually managed in pfSense if you're trying to lean on those threat feeds. Have you seen Greylog Academy? I'm slowly going to their free stuff. Cool. I'm glad they have that. No, I have not, though. If you're in St. Louis, hit you up. I'll take you to the inner geekdom around here. That is cool that you have a cool tech scene. I have not been to St. Louis. Well, no, I've come close to St. Louis. I don't think I've ever been in St. Louis that I can remember. But yeah, there's lots of places to travel. I'm actually I haven't been to New York in about a year. Part of me wanted to come here longer, but I seen where this is, and I'm going, well, I'm far outside the city. And New York, they have a public transportation system that confuses me, and I'm like, I'm just going to go to the event and figure it out from there. Next, though, next, what did I want to talk about? I'm trying to find it and pull it up because I got to make it public. Because I'm working on a few things here. How do we make this public before I can share it? Is it here? That's not it. That's not it. Oh, I think it's so it's kind of a weird thing in my forums. When I sometimes I write posts and I make them private while I'm writing them. I want to make them public later. The challenge is figuring out where that button is. Where does the button to make it public? It's there. Maybe I'll find out later. I'm working on. Wait, is this it? EdStar grant. Well, this is somewhere. That's not the button. Is it this one? Make wiki, lock posts, grant badge, ownership. They have a couple different gear arc. List topic. There we go. I'm looking for public and it's list topic. All right, now I can share it. I could share it before because I've been having a few friends look at it, but let's talk about this. Let's go over to here. All right, there we are. Catch up on all the questions people are asking, like, what are you doing while you're wandering around here? Right now, would you say it's better to focus on endpoint protection and identity more than firewalls? 1,000% yes, because first, what do you expect the firewall to do? I think there's this weird myth that you won't get your session tokens stolen if you have a good firewall, that no one will get malware on your computer if you had a good firewall. No one will get, this is all like old thinking, and it kind of drives me nuts because this is a common question, not just of people I know that may be getting started, but also of security, people who should be security professionals, but are still asking some really basic questions of like, oh, I just need a better firewall. Like, do you think these large corporate companies that are in the news on the regular for getting breached don't have expensive firewalls? And go through the differ report and go, oh yeah, firewall wasn't even how they got hacked at all. So so much is focused on that. The endpoint is really the end goal for most of the threat actors. I mean, obviously, firewall to an extent matters if you have VPNs, especially SSL VPNs, which you shouldn't have anymore because they're just bad and broken. But yeah. Can't get anyone to help me learn how to do anything in Proxmox. What is a new user-friendly software I can replace it with? Main goal is NAS. TrueNAS is your best NAS software out there. Most popular for sure. Use CityMapper. Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah, Huntress is definitely great. I will say, as someone's saying here, Synology NAS. I haven't tried some of the other ones, but Synology is really easy to use. Firewall stopped being the perimeter edge a long time ago. The perimeter is not really the endpoint application. Yeah. Yep. So now let's talk about what this is. Copy. Link has been dropped. It's in my forums, but what I'm working on, and this is going to be some videos I do, where I discuss incident response. And in order to raise awareness of the likelihood of an incident, and some of this comes from, I recently was working with someone who had an incident with some of my friends, trying to help them. And it's just, there's so many of these incidents out there targeting internal IT, targeting the managed service providers themselves. And I don't think they realize what they're in for. And so there's two things I want to really work on is trying to just beat the drum of security awareness. Like if you're going to be an IT provider, managed service provider, or internal IT, here's the tooling you need for a modern security stack. I kind of started it backwards because also this is what an incident response guide looks like, and it's bad. And if you look through the incident response and walk through it, which I would love it if everyone walked through incident response, not during an incident, like before there's an incident. That way they could educate themselves of going, hey, these are gaps I probably need to cover because, whoa, I don't have that. Because every time, and this has been, unfortunately, I think the third or fourth time I've talked to people during an incident in the last year or two. So not old times, like more recently within the last couple of years, all post after the merger CNWR. So I can at least put some timestamp on my head for this, where they didn't have insurance and they just didn't think to have coverage on this. I got in a good discussion with one of my friends just about, how even if you have coverage, do you have enough coverage overall if you had an incident? It is wild out there, and you just don't see these in the news. That's one of the things that I've repeated a lot is I tell people consistently, you're not too small to get hit, but you're probably too small to get the news on you. It just doesn't get reported. And there's not any, especially for a lot of these incidents, there's not any mandatory reporting for the small businesses. So they're getting hit constantly. And then they're surprised when they get hit going, I didn't think they would target a small company. Yeah, it's usually a smaller threat actor. So you have that on your side of they may not be as good at getting and extracting value out of you. But, if they're got the availability to do it, you should have some protections in place to do it. It's just like the publicly, back to the firewall topic, it's the number of people that publicly expose things under firewall. Like, please stop this. And by the way, if you think it's just home users, Palo Altos, when there was an incident in the Palo Alto world, I believe it's Palo Alto, it was crazy the number of exposed management interfaces. You're like, why are you enterprise people paying for an expensive product and just opening up the management interface to the public? Please stop doing that. I would say Unraid's probably a popular one as well. But if you're looking for some, I'm a big TrueNAS fan, but Unraid's probably a decent one. What is HexOS? They're still plugging along, trying to make it simple. Yeah, the Palo Alto CVE. And we had, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it nicely, but there was an incident, and I'm not going to name, no intention at all of naming the people that contacted us. This was about a year and a half ago. And the problem was, like, they got really badly hacked, and it was like a whole series as a calamity of errors, which included numerous things open to the public that shouldn't have been, management interfaces on more than just firewalls exposed to the open internet, and then password reuse across everything. They just had the same password all over the place. So once the password was figured out, who knows how, they probably used it on some website, and then they left management interfaces there. They just went through and destroyed so much of their data, and they did a speed run through it. And they were like, well, how did we get hit? How did this happen to us? I'm like, everything's exposed. There are actually so many exposures. We're not even sure which one they came in on because a lot of businesses don't have good logging. And if they don't even have good logging systems, yeah, forensics is hard at that point. When they start wiping systems and we don't have any type of source of truth that was a log, yeah. Matter of fact, that's sometimes a suspicion, the trigger of suspicion. is the fact that all of a sudden your event logs and Windows have just vanished. Oh man. Yeah, I think people don't realize they see it with someone like UniFi because they sell to the public. But a lot of these private companies are not necessarily wonderful when it comes to support. There's just less public forums because you're paying for support, so you yell at support people, and not as frequently you aren't in the forums like you are with UniFi, where that's the only place you can really be until they more recently added support. So you have a perception that there's more problems, but also I know a lot of people don't know how VLANs work at all. And that is when you start selling network gear to the general public, anyone can go buy it and it has VLANs, and people are just can't wrap their head around a VLAN and are trying to configure it and getting mad, going, yeah, there's a lot of, and this comes just not knowing. They're not network engineers, and you put some stuff that has more than just plug in and route packets features into it. So you're going to get a lot more support questions. Uh, I haven't used TrueNAS, but I hear a lot of people talk about how difficult ACLs are. What do you think? It's hard for them to set up ACL. I think if I ask people to set up ACLs in Windows, they're equally lost. I think ACLs are the file system equivalent of VLAN problems for network engineers. People struggle with them. Uh, they struggle with the idea of inheritance. I think the UI could be better in TrueNAS for it. I've done my videos on it, and almost any time I've done consulting where people have a bunch of messed up ACLs, I walk through it and they just go, "Oh my gosh, I realized in your video you said to click that and I didn't click that." Or you said in your video to do this and I didn't do this. I'm like, I, I don't know. I'm showing you in the video how to do it. If you miss one of these steps, it's a computer. It expects steps to be done. It expects boxes to be checked. If you don't check the box, it doesn't apply the thing. So yeah, well, I'm happy to hear that you did have good support from UniFi. So basically, if you are in a budget, PF sends you a choice. Cisco equipment is expensive and licensing is astronomically high for. Uh, it's, I mean, it's a different category of pricing. Cisco does. It's not the same pricing that you're going to get with something like PF Sense. They're not in the same category. Uh, UniFi does the same thing. You look at the UniFi switches, and I know someone can point out that they don't have all the features of the Cisco switches. That's true, but they're very different things. It's, I like to use automotive references being from Detroit. And I say, do you need a large freight truck to deliver pizzas? It can deliver pizzas. Absolutely. It can deliver pizzas. It just doesn't really seem to fit the use case. Everything starts with client needs and use cases, and then you start finding the product. You don't take the product and fit it to the client. You fit the need, you figure out the needs and figure out the product that fits those needs. There are way too many ways, free and paid, in 2025 to manage devices without exposing port to the internet. There's zero reason it should happen except being an idiot. Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't overlay VPNs are a thing. They're not new. They're slowly being adopted, but they're certainly far from new. A lot of it though has to do with legacy and budgets. People don't want to learn a new thing. People don't have the time to learn a new thing. People don't have the budget to deploy a new thing. They just have the thing they have. So they keep doing the thing they have and doing it the way they've done it because they're so busy, and this is unfortunate, but the reality of working in corporate IT is often understaffed, under budget. Uh, I just got to I'm going to bring this up because I like it so much. Where is it? Uh, this was the first time. I don't read all the stuff on this blog, but this particular thing just makes me uh, where I thought it was. Let's see. Cranky sec. There we go. This is a fun write-up that I want to share with all of you because this person clearly works in corporate IT. And this is the rant of a corporate IT person. There we go. I shared it in the link here, but let's run through one of the things that's really, this part right here. Your boss says, hey, corporate wants us to become ISO 27000 something certified. I don't know what that is. I don't care. And I wouldn't give a crap about it if this weren't not tied to my bonus. Here's $10. Go see to it. This is where a lot of things, this whole read is just wildly funny of what it's like working in the corporate world. And a lot of people just feel the pain from it. It's a fun read, but it's also why cybersecurity programs are often so broken. There's very little effort from the top, not a good understanding from the top of the company. They're like, hey, we got to get this thing. Here's the minimum budget you'll get, which is not enough to actually do it properly. Just do a bunch of things. Go see to it. Here's $10. Like the whole rant in this is just great. And it's just all the rant. It's such a fun read. And I think this particular here, your security program sucks because it's very similar to this one. The people who should know better don't give a shit. The opinions of an external idiot are more valuable than the opinions of the internal smart people. Your CISO can't read a log to save his life, but keeps getting promoted for some reason. And your rank and file are penalized for doing the right thing that just so happens to make the CISO look bad. They'll give $5 million to someone who's going to tell them what they want to hear. And for $5 million, I would too. And they'll get rid of the people who will tell the truth, only making about $78K a year. That's like the too long didn't read. Just read the last paragraph here. Yes. So I hate to sound jaded. There are companies doing it right. They're the ones not in the news. So not all companies are in the news for doing it wrong. There are plenty doing it wrong. And the small companies doing it wrong just get knocked over, rinsed, and they're not in the news. They're just getting hurt, which is why I'm trying to do what I can to try to raise awareness before this happens to more people. Been using a lot of open source tools, which I use those lead to wanting to say we need to do better in supporting these projects. By coffee donation, we all love them dollars. Yeah, it's hard. Do you use VPS, VDS servers for personal WireGuard, Unbound, etc., or something else? Sometimes I don't really need them that often. I mean, I have my website and my forums hosted on servers, but I don't need anything special. And I don't run a special instance of Unbound. I just use the DNS. My stuff is currently hosted with Linode, and I just use their DNS. So I haven't had a need. I'm using NetBird for connecting some of my systems. I've also used Tailscale a lot. I go back and forth just to keep testing things. Having a familiarity with a lot of different ones to me is something I like to do. Not everyone wants to learn several different systems. Maybe I'm weird. But if you're weird like me, feel free to learn several different systems. Contributing to open source. I am a follower of the, hold on, I'm pulling his name up so I can share what, I like this. His name's Daniel Stenberg. I may be saying his name wrong. But this is 2 slides that he calls it. It's, I just think this is great. This is a presentation day. You can follow him. He's the creator of curl. This is a list of car brands that are using curl, the open source project curl. He's the developer of this. So he made this list, and these slides tell stories. There's a lot of car companies out there using curl. This is a big list. This is not just the American car companies. We got a few other car companies out there outside of America. He also points out, this is the next slide, how many, Hey, throw me a number. Guess how many of these car companies are also donating back to the curl program? They're all using it. What's the number that you think? How many of these are on the next slide, which is car brands that are donating back to curl? Throw some numbers in the comments here. I'm just curious if anyone wants to guess this. By the way, follow Stamberg. He's got some really good insights on things. He's been really ranting about some of the AI slot problems and stuff like that. -1. That's -1. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone's figured it out pretty quickly that this is next slide. Yep. Yep, exactly. So, yep, 0. And this is a challenge in open source. There's a absolute massive number of companies using open source, and there's a minimal number of companies contributing back in any meaningful way. Not even one. Not even one. Yeah, you guys are guessing it. Some people, I love your optimism here, Charles. I appreciate the optimism. But yeah, open source is definitely a challenge. Listen to the Open Source Security podcast. They talk a lot about it. It's a great insight into the open source world, but the open source world's got some problems with all these companies. I don't know. It's a challenge. It's hard to solve, but I'm going to wind this down here because I am hungry. I am going to go find some food and wander around the Queens area and figure out what it is I'm going to do here. Yeah, it takes a lot. I mean, there is a lot of small donations that go to open source, but some better funding models have to come along. That's the bottom line that's going to make this right. So it's not coming anytime soon. But thank you all for joining me. I got to wander over to the registration. I got a lot of walking to do because I like to walk and it's nice out and it gets my exercise in, and I sleep better if I walk a lot. So yeah. So you're a developer of 20 years and a master's in cybersec at WGU. Your eyes have been opened. Yeah, working in the industry it's a thing, man. Especially when you deal with some of the incidents directly, you're just like, yeah, it's not that these people didn't put some effort in security. They just didn't really understand the dangers of the way they were doing it or the potential risks they were facing until they hit them. And that's unfortunate. And my goal is to try to keep raising awareness if I can stop one person at least from becoming another victim. I mean, the reality is I'm not trying to victim blame at all either, by the way, because the victims are being broken into. These are threat actors that are targeting them. No one wants their house broken into. No one wants their, company broken into for these nefarious reasons. But we live in the reality that this is a potential that can happen. It's unfortunate. There's not a easy solution, so we have to step up security. That's the only thing we can do. So anyways, check out my forum post on that topic. If you have some thoughts on it, let me know. The video is not done, but yeah, that forum post is in my forums under the business stuff. It says MSP incident response, but then it's still incident response. And even if you're a home user, and maybe I'll make a simpler version for home user to go through and check things. I have to think about that because it's a little bit more challenging because a lot of this from a tactical standpoint requires some tooling, and so there are some open source tools out there. I've done open source threat hunting. That video is available. There's also Security Onion, which is cool for threat hunting, and threat hunting, not necessarily securing. It's kind of a after the fact or forensics tool or pre-forensics tool to understand what's happening. I'm going to leave it here though. So thanks everyone and take care.